Recently, T-Pain revealed that some rude comments made by Usher kicked off what would be a 4-year battle with depression. Depression can vary for a lot of people, but in simple terms, it's a constant feeling of sadness and loss of interest that can prevent you from doing your normal day-to-day activities. And yes, even famous people have had their battles with depression. That's why today we're counting down the top 10 celebrities you didn't know had depression. Coming in at number 10, T-Pain.
That is the very moment, and I don't even think I realized this for a long time. That's the very moment that started like a 4-year depression for me.
During an exclusive clip that was released for the upcoming Netflix series called This Is Pop, T-Pain revealed that he fell into a deep depression after his former friend and fellow musician Usher told him that he effed up music. At first he thought that he was joking, so he tried to laugh it off, but then Usher really went in on him. He said that T-Pain really messed up music for real singers because he was responsible for making auto-tune part of the mainstream sound. However, now looking back on it, T-Pain had a better perspective on Usher's hurtful words and said that while he did use a lot of auto-tune, he never told anyone else to start using it as well. Although at that moment, it wasn't so easy for him to have the confidence to say that. This was coming from someone who he viewed as his friend and probably even looked up to. T-Pain continued by saying, "That is the very moment, and I don't even think I realized this for a long time, but that's the very moment that started a 4-year depression for me." Thankfully, T-Pain has come to realize that you shouldn't always take advice from people in the industry that have just been there longer. Coming in number 9, Kristen Bell. Sometimes when celebrities are working on a film, their schedule gets absolutely overloaded, and like most people who try to squeeze too much into a single day, it can take a major toll on your mental health. Kristen Bell knows this feeling all too well, and during a keynote speech in 2019, she revealed that she found herself cycling between anxiety and depression because she felt the need to try and fulfill every obligation that was put into her calendar. While speaking at the Mind Body Bold conference in California, Bell explained that work isn't the only reason that she would feel overwhelmed. She went on to say, "I don't want to let anybody down, and then I end up letting them down because there are only 24 hours in a day. But I haven't ever acknowledged how depleting that can be, and how I'm actually not of service to anybody if I'm not whole." Although her way of coping with this codependency was by practicing saying no to people, in a very kind way of course, but for every negative thought that she had, she would also combat that by thinking of 10 positive ones, something that she also passed on to her children. Coming in number 8, Kanye West. Kanye has had some very public breakdowns over the years, but little did people know that he was actually hospitalized in 2016 for depression and paranoia. After the death of his mother Donda West in 2007 following plastic surgery complications, Kanye had been haunted by this and really blamed himself for his parents' demise because of the pressures of life in Hollywood. In addition to trying to come to terms with the loss of his mother, Kanye also opened up about being diagnosed with bipolar disorder. In 2019, when he appeared on the Netflix series My Next Guest Needs No Introduction, Kanye explained why it was important for him to continue taking his medication on a regular basis. In the interview, he said, "If you don't take medication every day to keep you at a certain state, you have a potential to ramp up, and it can take you to a point where you can even end up in the hospital, and you start acting erratic," as TMZ would put it. Coming in number 7, Michelle Obama. When COVID hit and everyone was forced to remain inside to prevent the spread of the virus, many people experienced bouts with depression, including former First Lady Michelle Obama. During an interview with People magazine, Michelle said that she now recognized that she needed to allow herself space to process everything that was happening in the world at that time. She goes on to say, "Depression is understandable during these times. I needed to acknowledge what I was going through because a lot of times we feel like we have to cover that part of ourselves up, that we always have to rise above and look as if we're not paddling hard underneath the water," adding, "This is what mental health is. You have highs and lows. What I have said to my daughters is that one of the things that is getting me through is that I'm old enough to know that things will get better." Coming in number 6, Jim Carrey. There's no doubt that Jim Carrey is a comedy legend that has solidified his own unique brand of slapstick comedy. However, in recent years we have witnessed a much more serious and sensitive side to Jim's personality, which provided a lot of insight into his struggles with mental health. Jim had battled with depression over the years, and his thoughts on the mental health condition are very insightful. Here's how Jim Carrey views depression. He's quoted as saying, "Depression is your body saying, I don't want to be this character anymore. I don't want to hold up this avatar that you've created in the world. It's too much for me. You should think of the word depressed as deep rest. Your body needs to be depressed. It needs deep rest from the character that you've been trying to play." Coming in number 5, Cara Delevingne. For model and actress Cara Delevingne, it was her internal struggle with her sexuality that began to take a toll on her mental health. While sitting down with People magazine, she expanded upon this, saying that because she is pansexual, her sexuality was constantly changing, but she admitted that her main fear was admitting to her father that she was attracted to women. During the interview, she is quoted as saying, "I was honestly terrified," adding she thought that he might kick her out of the house, but she found acceptance. She explained, "He was like, you deserve deserved to be loved. He was so sweet I could cry about it right now. Looking back, she did correlate the massive depression that she felt to those moments of being ashamed of who she truly was. But after learning to love and accept herself, she has turned what was once the bane of her existence into a strength. Right now, she feels most happy when she doesn't have to conform to a singular gender norm, adding that she feels more comfortable in the fluidity of what it is to be a human. Coming in number 4, Chris Evans. Most people know Chris Evans as Captain America in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, although behind the scenes he didn't have his vibranium shield to defend against his internal struggles. Ever since taking on the role, press events and public speaking have left Chris shaken up. However, recently he opened up more about his anxiety and trepidation, which is the feeling of fear or agitation that something bad may actually happen. Initially he had turned down the role of Captain America, but soon he realized that maybe the thing that he was the most scared of was actually what he needed to do the most. Fear of failure is no reason to quit, and like any person who has started a business will tell you, every failure is a lesson that can lead to a greater success. Coming in number 3, Michael Phelps. Even though Michael Phelps is one of the most decorated Olympians in history, he is still human, and the pandemic sometimes took a frightening psychological toll on him. While speaking with Insider, Phelps said, "I'll be the first to admit my mental health has been scarier than it's ever been throughout all of this, so I can't even imagine what other people are going through," adding, "For those of you who are struggling with mental health, know you're not alone. There are days where I want to curl up into a ball and sit in the corner, but it's just taking a little step forward, taking a deep breath from time to time, it really helps." Phelps has also spoken about how journaling and meditation helped his mental health, as well as focusing on what he can control. Coming in number 2, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp has really been put through the ringer over the last few years, and it's no wonder that it took a toll on his mental health. In 2018, he sat down with Rolling Stone magazine to speak about his battle with depression after issues in his personal and professional life left him feeling low. While talking to Rolling Stone mag, he said, "I was as low as I believe I could have gotten. The next step for me was, you're going to arrive somewhere with your eyes open and you're going to leave there with your eyes closed. I couldn't take the pain every day." Not only was he dealing with his messy breakup though, he was also finding himself in a legal battle with his former managers who essentially left him for broke. He had trusted that the people around him were looking out for his best interest, but unfortunately not everyone's intentions were sincere. However, now he makes sure to take a look at every contract that he signs as to not repeat this terrible mistake. Last but certainly not least, in our number 1 spot, Kerry Washington. Back in 2009, Kerry Washington opened up during an interview with Essence magazine and spoke about her battles with depression. She said that most of her college experience revolved around depression that included a bad relationship with food and exercise. Eventually, she sought help from her dance teacher who could sense that something was wrong. While speaking about what helped her with depression, Kerry said, "I started therapy, which I still do today. I also see a nutritionist and I meditate. Learning how to love myself and my body is a lifelong process, but I definitely don't struggle the way I used to. Therapy helped me realize that maybe it's okay for me to communicate my feelings, instead of literally stuffing them down with food. Maybe it's okay for me to express myself." Either way guys, that has been the top 10 celebrities you didn't know had depression, but before we get out of here, let's check out some of your comments from the video titled, "T-Pain exposes Usher, Chris Brown under investigation, and Beyonce and Jay-Z expose Trick Daddy," which most people went, "Who?" Val Macabre says, "Has anyone ever heard T-Pain sing live? He didn't need auto-tune at all, but that was his musical style. If you actually looked into what a deplorable human Usher is, you'd take his opinion with a grain of salt." I mean, tea. Aaron Cruz says, "Usher didn't see season 1 of The Masked Singer. T-Pain won, no auto-tune." I doubt that Usher's watching TV. Cambriere says, "Choked on my water at dislodged weave. Laud." I'm so happy that you guys are liking my jokes. Mariah says, "I agree with your opinion on music. Not every established musician can give an objective criticism." Yeah, not really anyone in art is subjective, truly. So if you're trying to get some advice from someone who is in a place that you'd like to be in, they can only give you advice from their own perspective. And like you said with the Usher quote, you gotta take it with a grain of salt. Oscar says, "This is the kind of tea that I live for." Thank God, Oscar, thank you for that comment as well. Either way guys, that has been today's top 10. Thank you so much for watching. I've been your host, Johnny Rogers, and until next time, stay classy, YouTube, or at least try.